What is a contingency offer in real estate? Should you accept an offer with contingencies? A lot of sellers do accept contingency offers. It's almost inevitable, really, if you want to sell your house. But you should know which contingencies to expect and how they can affect the sale, and which ones can be pitfalls. To assist you, here's a short guide on how to understand contingencies when selling your house. As mentioned, contingencies are inevitable and accepted process of selling your house. So you should have some understanding of exactly what it is. In short, a contingency is a provision in a contract that requires the completion of a certain act or the happening of a particular event before the contract is binding. Typically, a buyer will include a contingency clause in the purchase offer. It will be up to the seller to accept the contingent offer, reject it, or come back with a counter offer that removes or changes the contingency. If you choose to accept a contingent offer when selling your house, you have typically three end results. Number one, you mark the listing as pending, taking the property off the market and wait for the condition mentioned in the contingency to be satisfied. Number two, you can choose the option above, have the property in pending status, and take backup offers. Lastly, number three, you can write a kick-out clause into the sales contract. This will enable you as the seller to take a look at other offers to see if there's a better offer that comes along while you're waiting for the condition in the contingency to be cleared. If you receive a better offer, you will share it with the original buyer for a chance to purchase the property within the specified window of time. In most cases, an agent will help the seller simplify the entire contingency acceptance and rejection process. They will have insight on what can or will happen. The most common types of contingencies you'll come across when selling your house are as follows. Financing contingency. A buyer who requires a mortgage to purchase a property may choose to include a financing contingency clause in their offer. This contingency will allow the buyer to break the contract and walk away from the transaction without losing their escrow money deposit if their financing is delayed or even falls apart. Appraisal contingency. A lender will require that a property be appraised before providing financing to safeguard that the property is valued at least as much as they are going to lend to the buyer. But in order to not be obligated to pay the difference if the appraisal comes in too low, buyers will include an appraisal contingency in the offer. This will allow them to break the purchase contract without financial or legal impact if the property doesn't appraise for the purchase price. That being said, a buyer could also allow for an appraisal waiver. In this way, the buyer would have to come up with the difference of the purchase price to the appraised value. Make sure that the buyer has enough cash on hand to offset the difference. Inspection contingency. After the buyer and seller are under contract for purchase, it's customary to have the home inspection done by a licensed inspector. Sometimes a home inspection can expose severe and unexpected problems with the property that may cause the buyer to second guess or make the home less desirable to purchase, or they may be unwilling to pay the original offered price. If the buyer has a home inspection, they are able to void the purchase contract or consider a renegotiation of the purchase, but only during the allotted inspection time. In this scenario, this would be for an as-is contract where the buyer could potentially walk away from the property. Some buyers will rely on the sale of their current home to be able to purchase a new home, in which case they often include a home sale contingency. This contingency provides a buyer with a specified period of time to sell their home. If they cannot secure a sale in that time and therefore cannot obtain the funds necessary to purchase the new home, they are able to void the contract and recover their escrow funds without ramifications. When it comes to home sale contingencies, there are two types you need to be made aware of when selling your house: the sale and settlement contingency and the settlement contingency. A sale and settlement contingency depends on the buyer selling their current home. It is used if the buyer has not yet received and accepted an offer for purchase on their current home. In general, this type of contingency allows the seller to continue to market the home to other potential buyers, with the stipulation that the buyer will be given opportunity to remove the sale and settlement contingency within a specified period of time if the seller receives another offer. A settlement contingency is used if the buyer has already marketed their property, has a contract in hand, and a closing date on the calendar. Because the property isn't truly sold until the closing takes place, this protects the buyer if the sale falls through for any reason. If the buyer's home closes by the specified date, the contract remains valid. If the home does not close, the contract can be terminated. A home sale contingency protects the buyer but can be uncertain for sellers because there's no guarantee that a buyer's home will actually sell. And there's additional danger in this scenario when you're selling your house. Let me explain why. If the purchase contract will allow the seller to promote the home and accept offers, the property will be under contract and thus making it less attractive to other potential buyers. Many buyers looking for homes will disregard a property that is under contract because they don't want to wait and dare fall in love with a property that they may not be able to buy. So before considering to accept an offer with a home sale contingency, please look into the possible sale of the buyer's property. See what questions you can ask. Is it already on the market? If the answer is no, the buyer may not be genuine about buying or selling. Is it priced appropriately? If it's overpriced, it may not sell in a timely manner. How long has it been on the market? If it's been on the market for some time, it may be priced too high or have major problems. What contingencies does the home sale contract have? And do you feel comfortable with it? This may take some investigating on your agent's behalf. You will need to get a copy of the buyer's purchase contract to view. You don't want to have a domino effect. If that sale falls through, so will yours too. If, however, you haven't found a buyer and your house has been on the market for a while, a home sale contingency may not be such a risky thing. A contract with a contingency is still a contract and there is opportunity for that property to sell. In many cases, it's advisable to restrict the length of time the buyer has to sell the home from 1 to 4 weeks. This will put pressure on the buyer to do everything they can to sell their property. They may need to lower the asking price to make a sale while limit the seller from losing too much time in the event the sale does not close. Having a kick-out clause will also give you as the seller some insurance in the scenario of a home sale contingency. A kick-out clause states that the seller may promote to market the property and accept offers from other interested buyers. With this scenario, the seller gives the current buyer that is under contract a specified amount of time, such as 72 hours, to remove their home sale contingency and proceed with the contract. If the buyer chooses not to remove the contingency, the seller can cancel the contract and sell it to a different buyer. When it comes to selling your property with a contingent offer, a skillful analysis of the buyer's offer is extremely important. Eyes wide open is what I like to say. You need to be sure you're not surrendering too much or putting yourself in jeopardy. As an experienced agent, I can help you analyze offers and make the best choice for you in your situation. If you have any other questions, leave them in the comments below and I'll make sure to answer them before my next video and possibly make a video on your question. My name is Cynthia Porpora, team leader for Icon Group with eXp Realty. If you'll notice, there's a link below with our seller's guide for you to download for more information. Our team is available to help you across the US. Ask us anything about real estate.